Hello, everybody. NC4XL, North Carolina for Extreme Lovers. And I'm Dom. Just Dom, the darling old man. What do I need to be a POTA activator? What do I do to be a hunter? Many times when we're talking with other amateur radio operators, we may boast about how we're doing in our parks on the air. And then we refer them to go look it up. Sometimes we even say, hey, they got a question and answer things that'll help you out too. One of the best parts about what we do in Parks on the Air is sharing our knowledge, and that's what this video is for. I am not a professional. I'm not asked to do this. I probably got my nose stuck in my business I shouldn't. But I'd like to help those that are considering becoming an activator, or those who are in the hunting stage. In other words, why do I keep hunting all the people in the same park? How many parks are there? How do I get my local park? See, those kind of questions many times get asked, and sometimes on Facebook, which is just another platform. The answers get a little rough. We do have a frequently asked questions section that provides much information when you register for Parks on the Air. And when you've registered for Parks on the Air, if you go down to the bottom of the page where it says parksontheair.com and click on it, it will take you as a hunter or activator to another screen that talks about some different things, and the awards, they call it, we call it achievements, but they call it awards, and how to contact the people if you have questions and things like that. That's a good source to learn. The second thing is there's a lot of us YouTubers out here that work Parks on the Air that provide information, and we don't charge you for it. You don't have to like for it, or you don't have to subscribe. Those are choices of yours. Parks on the Air does have a YouTube video channel, or YouTube channel. I subscribe to it in order to keep up with Parks on the Air information when they provide it. For myself, I try to share with you folks daily when I see questions on social media that I might be able to add some answers. So as a hunter, you do your own logging at your house, on your computer, on paper, however you do it. You don't have to do a single thing after that. Every contact you make is on your computer. You do not send a login, okay? When the activator uploads their logs from their activity, then and only then will you see the contact that you made with that activator or activators show up. And the easiest way to recognize that is on the left-hand side of the what I call spotting page. You click on the top little three lines into the drop down where it says My Hunter's Log. And that's where, after every activator has uploaded their logs to POTA, not to EQSL, not to QRZ, not to LOTW, but to POTA, that they'll show up there, okay? So hunters, that's one of the things that you really don't have to worry about. You log on your own home computer, if you do it that way, or paper log, and just keep record that way. But the activators is what makes the change. Uh, you can hunt in any mode. You can hunt on any band that your license class allows you to be in. So you're not stuck on a certain frequency. There is no certain frequency as an amateur radio operator. Whatever frequency is not in use and we've cleared and it's good to go on, then you can work anybody who's in parks on the air. During contest times, there are bands that folks will heavily go to because there's no activity on Warwick bands for contests. So a lot of the activators may run over there because during contest times the bands are so cluttered and crowded and that they can't even get an edge in a half a KC away from somebody else. So you'll find your Warwick bands to sometimes be very active during contest times. Now, what do I need if I decide to be an activator? One is going to be the desire. And if you have an opportunity, I'll stretch this out real quick. If you have an opportunity to go out with any activator in your club or area, and one of two things: observe, watch it, don't activate with them, okay? But watch how they do it in person versus sitting behind the desk at home where you have the conveniences of the restroom and the food and all that. But sit with them and listen to what they're going through. And don't let it scare you because it's new, so it will sound a little different. But that's one great way to learn what you're getting ready to get involved in, which we call fun in our perspective. But as an activator, what do I need? Well, here's the basics. Not everything, just the basics, okay? You need a radio, whether it's QRP, 10 watts or less, QRO, whether it's CW, voice, sideband, or FT8, FT4, PSK. Whatever the capability of that radio is and your heart's desire is. You need a form of power. So most of the time, 99% of the time, we use portable batteries, anywhere from 6 amp hours to 12 amp hours to 15 amp hours, depending on what our radio requirements are. This is a FYI example. I can run approximately 300 contacts or 3.5 hours, 4 hours off of a 15 amp hour battery before I have expired it. That's for me, and that's running 80 watts. Obviously, running less power, 40 watts, 20 watts, 10 watts, increases the length of time that you can operate off that battery. So now you need a radio or transmitter. You need a battery to source the power it needs. You need an antenna. There is no best antenna, but the type of antenna you first start out with will not probably be the one you end up with because you'll go through a phase of trying different antennas. If you like to drive up to an area and work the park from an automobile or an RV, a hamstick works well. A drive-on mount, whether front wheel or back wheel, and you can put a telescopic pole up, buddy pole up, and run your pole up about 20 or 30 feet and use an end fed and put it in a sloper configuration. You can use delta loop antennas. The antenna of choice is yours, what you have. Make sure that if you're running an antenna that is designed for QRO, 100 watts or better, that you've got that antenna. If you have a QRP end fed and you apply a little bit too much power to it, you may create some issues later on in your activation. So keep that in mind, but you just need a radio, a source of power, and an antenna. That's the needs so far. Now, let's talk about the basic needs, paper and pencil. Okay? Paper and pencil. Yes, laptops are nice. Yes, devices are nice. All the above, the laptop or devices run off of power and or create sometimes RF interference in your radio. When you first start, work the basics, work paper and pencil, and take your time. See, the first thing I'd love for you to remember is this. Parks on the Air is not a contest, folks. It's not a race to see how many contacts you can get in 1 minute. That doesn't mean anything. Parks on the Air allows you to have a lot of fellowship and friends develop talking on the radio while practicing your ecom or emergency communications, having fun in the woods, and getting eaten up by chiggers and black flies and ticks, and those are other elements that come along with being an activator. But you can always move up once you've got some activations under your belt to the laptop, different software programs, hammers and Polo, and Steve in Italy has got a program now that works well. Me, I'm old-fashioned, forgive me. I do paper logging regardless, whether it's 100 contacts or 400 contacts. I will paper log the entire log. I will go home and I use N3FJP, and I will log them. It is a nice feature to know somebody's name when they pop up on your screen because you have internet. But guess what, guys and gals? If you're an activator and you go out to a park and you get there, let's say you don't have no internet. Now you're thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to get spotted? That's called spin the dial and talk to somebody, make a contact, and listen for other people in POTA, because there's a lot of us activators out there. So let's go backwards again. You need a transmitter, whatever you pick. If you pick a heavy boat anchor and you have to carry it around and tote it around, you'll learn how fast that you want a small radio. The antenna of your choice, whether it's Wolf River, a Delta Loop, a vertical, an end-fed, you choose what you can afford, and you can always move up. There's people that have taken slinkies and tuned a slinky with a tuner, and all my activations are resonant antennas. I do not use a tuner. That's, again, my choice. I don't like tuners. It's a matching device. It makes everybody feel good, but not necessarily. But that's an opinion. So you got the radio, you got the battery, you got the antenna, you got the paper and pencil, and you know the park you're in. Whoa, let's back up. What did I just say? There are parks all over the United States and other countries that are not in POTA because they're not owned by the right participants, let's say. If they're privately owned, they don't qualify for Parks on the Air. Again, your mapping coordinator, that's a person that takes care of adding parks or taking parks off that have been where the property was sold to a private property and now it's no longer meets the criteria. But if you have a park in your area you think qualifies and is state owned, get with your mapping coordinator for your area, 4 land, 5 land, 6 land, 7 land, etc. Send the information to them. You don't have to post it on Facebook. It's get posted every day, and it's not that it's a bad question, but as we're growing, so many people don't realize because they don't read the FAQ, the frequently asked questions. And that's a great place to get some basic information that'll help you when you make time to read it. The videos that I try to produce are unprofessional. They're raw. I'm not going to edit them. If I don't look good to you, it's okay. I still can send some information that might be helpful. So you know about the radio now, you know about the antenna, you know about having a battery, you know about having paper and pencil. We haven't bored you too much, I hope. But the park that you're at, you don't have to activate it, but you can activate it this way. You don't have to go on the spotting page and spot it and get clobbered by 120 some people at once. Go to that park, set your antenna up. You got your antenna tuned, everything's good to go, you got the spotting page, you're fortunate there's internet there. Then just go start working park to parks. Log each one. Whether you get 5 contacts total or 55, upload your log as an activator. Every activator's growth grows upon the contacts you give them. The hunters, as a hunter, your growth grows the more activators you work, regardless of the park that they're in. I run 6 or 7 bands when I'm at a park. So there's an opportunity for somebody, if they're able to work all the multiple bands, to gain a lot of contacts. And sometimes when I do CW, there's some more modes that increase the contacts. What do I need to become a park activator? You gotta have a desire. It's fun. It's unique. It's hard to describe. You will get your car stuck in the mud. You will have a storm come up from nowhere. The bugs, Skin So Soft works well. I'm not advertising for them, okay? But it works well. That's pretty much it. You can upload your logs manually when you first start out doing park to parks and you didn't spot yourself because you didn't want to handle the pileups. That's okay. You go over to the left on the green screen, we'll call it. You go down to where it says log uploads. You click on it. You scroll down, you'll see a manual upload. I've never used it. I've been told it's pretty simple to go through, but I do everything with N3FJP. Folks that I've talked with that use it, they'll go out, get 15, 20 contacts, go to the manual upload, process it right there, and they're good. So there you go. This is a little bit about Parks on the Air, and we just barely made a dent in Parks on the Air because there's so much that they offer each one of us. May God bless you. NC4XL, North Carolina for Extreme Lovers. If you think this is worthy, tell somebody about it. Maybe it'll help them. If you get a chance again, go out, tag along with an activator, watch and observe and experience the fun of Parks on the Air 73s.